gonna have to make sure not to take too long filming this because the light is rapidly declining. And there's my neighbor. Hi everybody, happy 2020. This winter has gone especially fast for me. Oh my god. So for those of you who don't know, I'm getting married next month. That, I cannot believe I'm saying that. We've been engaged for 2.5 years now, which is just, they told me it was gonna fly by, and it did. I feel like I have a lot to catch you guys up on. I uploaded the end of my NaNoWriMo videos sort of late in the year. It was really important for me to still upload those, even though it was pretty much a hot mess of a NaNoWriMo for me, even though I really had such ambitious goals this year. But it was my journey, and I'm gonna just show it. Even if I'm not proud of it. But no, a lot of you guys actually left really wonderful comments, especially Sarah Burdette and Diane. You always leave such nice comments, and Blue Sky left a wonderful comment as well on that first video I uploaded in the series. And I just want you guys to know how much I really appreciated that. When I started to upload those, like over Christmas time, when I did upload those 3 videos pretty back to back, I was starting to feel a little bit better. You probably can tell from the videos that I was feeling really down on myself, and I am in a much better place now. 2020 hasn't been perfect these last couple weeks, but I have felt like I'm starting to remember myself again and putting what's important to me first, which I'm going to get into. So this video though is all about my writing goals for 2020. So I don't want to leave you guys hanging. This is probably gonna be chatty, but I'll get those off the bat first in case you just want to hear that part, and then you can go. Priorities. So I'm really excited for 2020 writing wise. I think this is going to be, well, I don't even just think this is going to be my big writing year. I know it has to be my big writing year. So this is when I start. I do not only my writing workshop over the summer, which is part of my creative writing degree, where we are going to meet with real agents and real editors about our project. So kind of a big deal. And then I start my thesis in the fall, which is going to be the final draft of Guardians of the Skulls, which I'll get to in a second. And potentially a sequel. It might be my sequel, not my first book. It will depend. So I will get more into that. So this winter and spring. So last fall during NaNoWriMo, I was working on mostly the opening chapters of my book. If this is the first time watching me, sorry, I'm not good at like summarizing like where I am now. I just kind of go forward as if you've seen all my videos, but Lord knows nobody got time for that. So I am currently on the second draft, or revising, however you want to call it, rewriting the first draft I did of my young adult fantasy book, Guardians of the Skulls, which is a contemporary retelling of the legend of the Crystal Skulls. I am so excited about it. I love this book. This fall during this NaNoWriMo, that's when this book started to really feel like not just my project, but like almost like a real story. Like the characters have just opened up. I feel like I could say so much about it, and I will talk about what I learned in my independent study. That will have to be its own other video, or this video is going to be like 3 hours long. But I really focused on making these characters turn from like these two-dimensional, you know, boxed characters, like survey character, like, you know, when you're like creating like a character sketch sheet and you're like filling in all these things. To me that still felt so two-dimensional, but I turned it into these characters feel real to me now, and they're complex, and that is exactly what I wanted with this rewrite. That was one of my issues with my first draft, is everything felt so like even one-dimensional, not even two-dimensional. Like everything just felt so flat, and I feel like I'm really proud of the fact that my current version just feels so much more full of life and isn't just plot driven. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about all of that and what I've learned and how I did it and all that stuff. But anyway, so even though I didn't get as much done as I wanted during this NaNoWriMo, I do feel I successfully am on the right track, which feels great. I don't feel as lost as I did starting this fall semester. I feel like I learned so much. So really it was a success in that way, even if I only did end up writing, I don't even know what my word count was. What did I say it was? Like 12,000, 16,000, I don't know. It was 3 chapters. I rewrote 3 chapters, not a whole book. And some of that word count was like very like structured through chapter 6, but 3 concrete chapters that I'm actually super happy with. Like if I had to query right now and those are my first 3 chapters, I would be fine with that. Like I love them, and that is very far. Like, that's me coming very far, because I did not always feel that way. Going into winter and spring for the 2020. So my broad goal for this year is to finish my final draft. But breaking that down, because I'm serious about this and I haven't done like a goals video in a long time, and I just feel like breaking down goals for me, especially writing goals, really not only helps it feel more feasible, but it stops that like feeling of, oh, I've got a whole year to do it. So like, you know, in the beginning you feel like you have more time than you do. It's like, no, I want to feel consistent throughout the year. So for this winter and spring, and I'm kind of lumping them both together because it's like a semester for me, being in school, I plan to finish the 2nd draft that I'm working on. So as I mentioned, I am starting, like I've written the first 3 chapters pretty solidly, and I've started writing the next 3 chapters, but I want to finish the full 2nd draft of my book by like, well, the end of spring, so like mid-May. I also have the goal, revise my query letter. I have written a query letter, I have revised it, but obviously it still needs improvement, especially when I do finally finish that 2nd draft. I might have an ending that's a little bit different that I need to focus on, or I might have a different elements that I want to highlight. So revise query letter, and then make a list of agents to query, because then going into summer, as I mentioned, I have a week-long workshop as part of my program. It's like a full week, 9 to 5 thing. I don't know much about it other than we are gonna have the agents and editors weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I don't really know what we're doing Monday through Friday. I just think it's like workshop style, so I think it's going to be really intense. I'm really excited, and I want my book to be in the absolute best shape that I can put it in, so that way that week is that much more efficient. So I'm going to have that in mid-July, but over this course of the summer, I want to finish the 3rd draft of my book. So hopefully after that week workshop, I'll have my notes and have what I need to do, so that by the end of the summer, I am that much further. And I have a goal to query 10 agents this summer. So a lot of like the query agenting goals, I mean, you never know, like this won't happen to me, but like the first agent you query, you might be successful at. And so like I have more goals in the fall to query more agents. Obviously then that wouldn't be a thing. And then I have, you know, finished the 4th draft of Guardians of the Skulls in the fall. But if like I query an agent in the early summer and get that, and they like the book, like then that won't be my fall goal. It will be start the sequel or whatever. So really starting in summer, I might have to adjust my goals. Probably won't have to though, if I'm realistic, because most people end up querying quite a few agents. So I'm totally fine with that. So to wrap up, the whole year goal is to get to finish the 4th draft, which is hopefully the final or close to the final. I don't know how many rounds this thing's gonna need, of my book, and query 25 agents total. So then come spring, which will be the last semester of my degree, I will be able to officially say I have written the final draft of my book, hopefully. And at that point, query just out as many agents as I need to. And so I'll probably have a more broken down goal then as well, because I would love to be able to graduate and say that I am represented. That is like the dream, to upon graduation have representation, and then that summer focus on hopefully getting my book purchased by someone. That's the dream. That's the ultimate goal. That's the ultimate dream. So I have such high hopes for this year, and really my resolutions in general for the year obviously are all my writing goals, and as well as some reading goals, which I set every year on Goodreads. Feel free to add me on Goodreads, by the way. You'll see how much mystery books I read. It's all mystery. You'd think I would write mystery. one day. And I have like a fitness goal and a financial goal, but really it's all writing, because that kind of goes into the second portion of this video, what I wanted to talk about, kind of like what I was talking about at the end of NaNoWriMo. 2019 was a year. So I don't want to like be negative and say it was like a horrible year, because a lot of really wonderful things happened and I learned a lot of really wonderful things and had a lot of really wonderful moments, but I feel my priorities got really messed up. I know I had a lot going on. I'm not like trying to beat myself up about that. So with the wedding planning and just with some personal things going on in my family and with a lot of extra stress with working 2 jobs, which by the way I'm no longer doing, I'm so happy to say they hired someone, so I am back to my regular job, which is why I'm a lot more energetic and happy. I felt like there was a lot that was expected of me and had to get done, that as much as I hated doing it and as much as it was soul-sucking, I had to put writing kind of on the back burner, and that destroyed me. I know I could have made more time to write. There are people who finish NaNoWriMo and have way more going on than I do, who have kids, who are sick, who have all of this other stuff, but I didn't do that. And so I was bitter, not just because of the fact that I had other stuff going on, but of the fact that I let other things mentally exhaust me. You know, like with the wedding, I'm so excited to get married. I'm so excited to be married. I already feel very emotionally married. Like, Zach is it. He's my partner. We've been living together for 3 years now, and we've known each other for like 6 or 7. I don't even know how long we've known each other. But, you know, the wedding itself, it will be fun, but I hate planning a wedding. I hate it. And I've been afraid to admit that because I feel like it makes it sound like I don't want to get married, and that is not the case. And it maybe even sounds like I don't want to have a wedding. That is not true at all. Like, I've always have dreamed of having like a fairly big wedding and an exciting wedding, but I hate planning it. Like, if I knew then when I got engaged what I know now, as far as not even like the time-consuming nature of planning a wedding, but the mental exhaustion, the decision fatigue of planning a wedding, I definitely would have hired a wedding planner. I had looked into it because I know I hate event planning, so I knew I wouldn't enjoy it, but it is really expensive. A lot of them were like $5,000 or something crazy like that. I was like, oh my god, that is a huge chunk of our budget. Like, I don't want to spend that, but I think I would have put aside like an extra budget way back when and probably hired someone to do it, because then I would just be excited about the wedding and not have to deal with all the stupid decision fatigue and so many phone calls, which I hate making phone calls to strangers, and that's all wedding planning is. So I am at least happy to say too, I think most of the wedding planning is done. Or at least I've been telling people I'm done. Like, I'm sure there's stuff that we still have to do, but I have just, whatever it's at now is just what it's at. Like, we're probably forgetting something and I just don't care. I don't care. I'm gonna show up. There's gonna be food, there's gonna be cake, and there's gonna be music, and Zach will be there. So he says. And so that's all that matters. Everything else I don't care about. I just don't care. And that kind of gets into the point I was trying to make. I let myself care and let myself be mentally fatigued and mentally distracted by something I don't really care about. Like, I don't really care what color tablecloths are. I don't care. And so I'm frustrated that I let myself use my free time and stress about something so simple that really doesn't matter, when I should have been prioritizing my thought and my energy on what does matter to me, which is writing, and obviously family and friends or whatever. I don't mean like whatever, but you know what I mean. Because I let writing get so far down on the priority list that I just felt icky. I felt icky, and that was a reason I didn't upload videos too, because I felt like, not that I had to fake it, but I didn't have much to report. I didn't have much to say. And it wasn't until December when I was turning in my final videos and those final clips you saw of me cranking through that I finally started to prioritize it again, and I felt so much better about myself. And that's when the turnaround started to happen, when I allowed myself to say, I'm gonna stop stressing about things I don't care about and let it be okay that I don't care about it, even if other people care about it. Not everyone likes the same things. Not everyone likes to be obsessed with weddings, and that is fine. And not feel guilty about the fact that even though I do have all this exciting stuff going on, writing is still one of the most important things to me. So that was sort of like a mini soapbox to myself, because in December and in those last clips of those NaNoWriMo vlogs, I stopped having a pity party about my situation, about being so mentally fatigued, and I decided to just get to work. Which brings me to my final point of this video, and I just want to make it clear, I am only talking about myself with this. I am not speaking for others, because I think it is such a personal thing to discover the balance for yourself when it comes to putting in hard work and having self-care and downtime. I think when I first started AuthorTube, the whole like buzzword was hustle, like putting in those words, getting it done, you know, not letting not writing be an excuse, and you know, if you weren't writing then you must not really care about it and all that stuff. And that was really overwhelming for me because I'm just not a hustle kind of person, and so I constantly did feel like, not a failure, but just felt like I was not as aggressive and passionate about writing as others appeared to be. So that kind of made me feel sad and like down on myself. But then it got really pretty big last year, but also 2018, I would say, it became more about self-care and self-love and like being more patient with yourself and gentle, which I think is a great thing. But for me, it definitely went too far the other way. And this is something I've talked about in my past videos, of knowing where that balance is. Like, when am I allowing myself to relax and have a deserved break versus when am I just being lazy? And I think I definitely tipped the lazy scale way more than I did when I actually just needed a break. So this year, my like word of the year, if I were to do that, for 2020, I want it to be discipline. And it doesn't have to be hustle. Like, I don't have to be so hard on myself that I'm like crying as I'm typing out the words and I'm just so exhausted and running on 3 hours of sleep. I don't mean that, but just having discipline and having honesty with myself about when I really need a break versus when I just don't feel like doing it. Because the truth is, like, being patient with yourself and forgiving with yourself is all fine and dandy, but I am not gonna write a book if that's how I act every single day. Writing to me is sort of like jogging. So a lot of people, and I'm very jealous of these people, think writing is their relaxation and that is what sort of helps them have self-care. Sometimes it's like that for me, but 90% of the time, writing to me is just hard work. It's good work, but it is still hard work, and it's work. And so to give like the jogging thing, like, even though jogging is physically hard, at the end of the day, when I start picking up that habit again, which I have personally started picking up the habit again, it does help my overall relaxation, because in a way it's soul filling, you know, it's physically good for my body. And so even though it's hard work, it still also is that balance of self-care, even if it doesn't always feel like it at the time. And writing is the same way, because as I learned this NaNoWriMo when I wasn't writing or wasn't thinking about my writing, I might have thought I was like relaxing and trying to heal from mental exhaustion, but really what I was doing was a disservice to myself, because it felt like it was slowly destroying what makes me me and what makes me happy. You know, writing is a part of my soul. It is my passion, and by not doing it, like, it was slowly but surely eating at me and making me more exhausted, and it just became this bad spiral of just feeling bleh. You know, in that book, The Phantom Tollbooth, which I love that book. I feel like not enough people talk about that book, and I actually read it kind of late in life. I read it just a few years ago as like an adult, and oh my god, it's a genius book. But there's this scene where the kid is eating that soup that makes you more hungry, and so like he's eating it to try and fulfill like his hunger, but it's just slowly making him more and more hungry. But you know, you're caught in this cycle. And so to me, that's what sort of relaxing and being a little too gentle with myself can do, is I think I'm doing myself a service, and I think it can be a service used wisely and with a good balance. You know, having a day where I just play Sims or just binge Netflix and have that 0 day, that garbage day. But if I keep doing that every day of the weekends, I am causing myself more exhaustion, because I am going to be overwhelmed with the fact that I am not reaching towards my goals, that I am feeling stuck and just like living for the weekends, and then on those weekends I'm not even doing anything. So it's became this thing where I was just eating the soup that only made me more hungry. And this year I want to stop eating the soup. Like obviously I'm still gonna have 0 days, obviously I'm still gonna let myself relax after work, but I'm gonna set more boundaries with myself and stop making excuses for myself, because that's what it became. I was thinking of it as self-care, but really it was just an excuse, and those are different things, but I was abusing it, and I was misunderstanding it. And anyway, that's all I really have to say about that. But I wanted to mention that in case anyone else is kind of going through the same thing, just because I know that there are people in my personal life who are going through the same thing, and I've talked to them about it. Like I said, I'm so glad that we are being more patient with ourselves, but at the same time, that patience shouldn't take away from what's important to your life, which for me is doing the work of getting my writing done. So I have really good hopes for this year, and it's definitely the year of, I don't want to say year of no excuses because that sounds way too harsh, but the year of finding that healthy balance. There's a truck. And not letting myself deprioritize my passions, even if those passions are hard. Because if there's one thing, like I said, I'm getting married soon, and it's not just about me anymore. Like, it hasn't been for a while, but legally it's not just about me. You know, I'm gonna have a husband, I'm gonna have that family. That was my cat knocking over a box after she jumped into it. Wow. Yeah, and so I have a cat now, and she depends on me and makes sure that I put away breakable things. And so I want to make sure that I am doing what's best for myself, even if that is putting in the work of writing, putting in the work of eating well and exercising, because I don't want just to try and have a good life for me. I want us to have a good life. I want my family to have a good life. The ultimate dream, of course, is selling my book and making this a full-time career. So if I want that to happen, I can't just keep having recovery days every weekend. That just isn't gonna cut it, and it's not what I want. That's not the life I want. I don't want to just constantly be recovering from life. I want to be living life and doing it. So with that said, I hope you all had a wonderful New Year's, and I hope that you guys also are looking forward to this year. And if you haven't set goals for yourself and you want to, I do encourage you to. And you know, if you're not a goal person, that's totally fine too, but I always find it really inspiring, especially because it gives me something to reach for. It makes everything seem more attainable because it's broken down, and it also prevents me from putting it off too last minute. I'll still put it off towards the end of the season, but not the whole year. So, and as far as videos coming up, I am going to be doing my first chapter before and after. I'll probably try and show you guys the first real chapter, or at least the first scene from the first chapter of my very first draft. And oh my god, I'm really scared to do that one because I don't want you to think that's my writing now, because it is garbage. And I will show you obviously too the first scene at least of my current chapter, which, with the disclaimer, it might not be the final version of my first chapter because, as you just heard, I'm going to be doing lots more different drafts, but at least show you where I've come, because why not? And the lessons I've learned along the way, because a lot of you guys did like my short story version of that video. So, but I'm gonna make this one a little bit more organized so that way you guys like don't have to sit there and like just listen to me babble for 45 minutes straight, which is usually the norm in my videos, but I'm gonna work on that this year. I am going to go. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you for everyone who commented on my last few videos. I know I didn't respond right away, but reading those did make me feel so much better. I really appreciate that. It's so kind when people comment, because I know it takes time out of your day to do so, and it just means so much to me. So thank you all very much, and I look forward to this year and showing my journey this year. I know I didn't have any channel goals, but that's because honestly, like, I mean, it'd be cool if my channel grows, but I had 1,000 subscribers, and really that was just my goal. So I'm good on 1,000. If we just stick around this number, I'll be fine. Kimmy is knocking more stuff down. I have to clean my apartment. Okay. All right. Bye, everybody. Happy New Year. Happy 2020. And it's all right, Kim. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.